Yes, I see
Hi
live.
folks, this is Rohan Poddar, and I'm going to be the host of this Hangout this evening. And before we begin, a little bit about myself. I'm a visual storyteller for social good brands, and I run a blog called Creatively Unsettled. It's a place for ideas, insights, and storytelling for the newest social entrepreneurship. And she's a native German. And over the last 20 years, she's traveled more than 100 countries and met many interesting people like Nobel laureates, politicians, successful entrepreneurs, visionary thinkers, and activists. She's been a frequent visitor to India in the past and now calls it her home. She lives in rural Madhya Pradesh where she runs a social transformation project called Janwahr Castle. Today on this hangout, I'm going to ask her about this project and much more. So, Rika, welcome, and I was just looking forward to this hangout. Welcome on the show.
Yes, thank you for having me. Welcome.
Yeah. So, Ulrike, quite an interesting fact that you've been all over the world. You've traveled so many countries. Uh, how do you introduce yourself? I mean, I'm sure. I mean, that's a problem even I face. How do you introduce yourself? Let's see if you have to introduce yourself in a line or two. You don't have much time. How do you do that?
Yeah, usually I tell the people my name. I I would tell them that I currently live in India, but I'm native German, and then I usually wait how the conversation goes. So I rather,
Is there a specific word in which that you mostly use or most frequently use to introduce yourself?
besides my name, no, nothing actually. Sorry, but it's just like this. There is not one criteria or
But
one.
let's say
It's just
we
me.
met at one of let's say we met at one of the conferences, and I could be anybody. What do you talk about? I mean, is it your work? Is it your travel? What essentially you talk about at when you meet new people?
Yeah, I think my work, my travel, my private life, it's basically all one. There is not a strict separation between the one and the other. So
Uh-huh.
it's usually about the projects I'm working on, the country I'm currently in, and the people I'm dealing with. So it's basically always based around some network, and this network really varies depending on what I do, where I am, and what project we are on. So, but to boil it down to this essential thing, yeah, it's depending on the network, and the network is usually, I mean, mind like people. So they're like friends, most of them I know in person. So there is this personal relationship based upon value.
So when you are in India, you obviously would talk about Janwahr Castle, and that's probably how you would introduce yourself and take the conversation ahead.
Yeah, as I said, usually when I meet someone new, I don't, in German we have this expression, I don't fall with the door inside the house. I just wait. What's what's unfolding. If there is no need to say, I wouldn't say.
Right,
It's
right.
really,
Ulrika, now that you've traveled so much, and I'm sure you've met so many people, even common people for that matter, do you feel that people all over the world are the same, they're driven by the same motivations, or frustrated by the same challenges, or it's been that you've seen people in Asia are much different from people in Europe or anywhere else? What do you think?
uh, I I would actually divide this in two answers, so to speak. On one hand, my personal network, it's really all over the world. Within these people, as I said earlier, these are mind-like people. So there is not such a huge difference because we share common values, and based upon what we share, we know each other quite well, and it's there aren't these differences, even though the people have completely different backgrounds. Let it be they come from a different culture, let it be that they come, from a different background, what they have studied or the work they are currently doing. So that's one thing. But certainly, I mean, me currently for the last 4 years being here in India, there is very clearly there are cultural differences. When I speak about family or when I speak about having a boyfriend or whatever, it's just a completely different perception as what an Indian would add to family or boyfriend, unheard of, basically in this area where I live, either if you have a boyfriend, you are married. It's, so there are these cultural differences, and yeah, of course they do play a role. Yes, like sometimes it really happens. For me, I'm usually on time. I hate wasting time, and this is where I'm very, very often in conflict, especially here in India, because sometimes I feel there is no concept of time. It just, if I come, it's okay. If I don't come, it's also okay. And this is something where, yes, the cultural background plays a very significant role. And there are huge differences around the world. And yeah, we should also celebrate these differences.
What place did you find most hospitable in your travels?
I mean, there are.
Well, I would love it if the answer is India, but I'll give that to you.
Certainly for this, for this time in my life, it's certainly India. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. For me, India is. I always say India is a little bit like the internet. It's highly complex. There are a lot of dynamics. It's highly diverse, and there is never ever a straight way of doing things. So I think this is why I'm here, why I like it. This is what my job here or my project here is all about. Certainly there are things which are annoying, or which you don't like that much, but if it wouldn't balance out, I wouldn't be here. It's as easy.
You have come to like the chaos around you, the madness, the speed, the color, the diversity, and all that, which is India. And I'm sure probably back home or in other Western cultures, things are so different from here. How do you cope up with something like that? I mean, I'm sure. Even for me, I'm a city sleeper. Yeah, for me, it's a big cultural shift. And when it comes from you, like a person like you, Westerner settled in India, I'm sure this was a cultural shock. And probably a first few months or of your time in India, you must have spent accepting or absorbing that cultural shock. Was it a correct thing to say? I mean, did you take some time to?
I mean, especially the last 10, 15 years, I traveled really quite a lot. So for me, this understanding what home is probably something different for most of the people. Usually, I'm at home where my laptop connects, and where I have a bed to sleep or friends, and this is basically doesn't matter what the environment is. So yes, you realize there are things which are completely the opposite from what they are back home. But it's also, it keeps you going. You don't take things for granted. You learn new, and you can call it curiosity or whatever. But I mean, it's nice, to have all these different, different.
But in first place, what set you off on this travel? I mean, I'm sure traveling 100 countries is must have been a phenomenal life-changing experience. What set you off on that? Was it your childhood dream, or was it this rebellion in you? Was it this curiosity, or it was just happenstance that you just took off and you left, and then one thing led to another, and you found yourself traveling? What was it that took you off on such a big ride?
I would say it was purely curiosity. I was lucky enough that I could, wherever I traveled, I could work on projects or could start something. What's been driving me for the last 10, 15 years was that I more and more realized, I mean, these days my base was back home, Germany, that, you know, what's going on in the media with the rise of the internet and various other things, that what we consume in media is not necessarily what's happening in the world. So media is telling us stuff, at least I believe, where I felt, ooh, is this really what's going on? And the only way to find this out is to go and see. And when you go and see, and the more often you go and see, the more often you at least get, for your own personal understanding, another point of view. And this has led me to the, I don't trust media anymore. So, or I have learned through my travels where I can trust, where I can't trust, and the rest is basically, you know, what can I make out of it? If I really want to know, then I'll go. So this was, at least for the last 10, 15 years, the driving force to better understand what is going on and to better understand how...
travel breaks some myths? Like the point of that we see the world through media. We see the world through television, through newspapers, and we build a view of the world, a perception of a world. Did your travel break some of those myths?
I mean, that was, since I was saying, I didn't trust this anymore. And I had my doubts. And the more I believe I understood about this power of networks, the more I thought, you know, why not living in this network, you know, and figuring out what the network can do to break this dominance, which is somehow around us by money, politics, and whatsoever. And this, this was at least my driving force, why I went around the world and, you know, came back and back and back to places. It gave me personally a better understanding of what is really going on. If it's true or not, it's a different story, but at least I feel that I do have a better understanding, that I, you know, can maybe judge in a better way. And to meet the people who are on the ground. As a network person, you are usually, you know, you are working down at the grassroots, or you connect with these people, and they are telling you very often different stories from what you usually would hear.
Okay, oh, that's fantastic. So probably, you know, one must be getting to see a different view of the world. You know, let's say you are in a grassroots level, as you said. So now coming back to Janwahr Castle, can you give us a brief about, you know, like how this project happened, and what is this project all about?
Yeah. So Janwahr Castle is basically, Janwahr is the name of the village where we are working. It's a small village, 1,000 people in really rural Madhya Pradesh, in the heart of India, where it's in the Bundelkhand area, and people call this area the wild, wild west of India. And so far from what I have seen in India and what I experience in Bundelkhand, there is at least some truth in it. So from my side, there was never ever a plan, so to speak, to go to India and to do these things. This has very organically, it has developed. And with one person whom I met quite early when I came to India 4.5 years ago, we decided 2 years ago to build this skate park. I know about Skatistan in Afghanistan, which is a little bit maybe an hour outside of Kabul, where when you go there, you see teenage girls completely real, but they are on a skateboard and they go to school. So at Skatistan, school and skate park is very, very closely attached. So we decided to build this skate park. So we got land in this village, and we see basically the skate park as a trigger for change. And so we provided a skate park with a crowdfunding campaign. We had like 12 volunteers from 7 countries here who built like in 3.5 months this skate park. And then last year in April, it opened. And the opening was basically that I gave to the kids in the village. There are about 250, 300 kids. I gave them 20 skateboards.
Wow. How big is the skate park?
Huh?
How big is the skate park?
It's actually the biggest in India. It's 460 square meters. So I don't know how it is in square feet. It's 460 square meters. It's India's biggest skate park. And it's in the middle of nowhere. If you go to our website, you will see, it's really a tiny little sleepy village. But what has happened since last year in April, that the kids who never ever had an option before, like in this village, there is no sanitation, there is no electricity, there's not even a shop. There is no connection to the outside world. If they want to go to Panna, the next biggest city, close by, it's like 7 kilometers away. They have to walk for 4 kilometers to the main road. So there is no public transportation, nothing. It was just another sleepy village. Like when you drive through India, there are, 700,000-800,000 of them. And people don't have a choice, don't have an option there. With the skate park, this option came. All of a sudden, the kids had a choice. And they took their chance. It's very easy. They just took the skateboards and they learned skateboarding like crazy. Today we just had 2 weeks ago, so-called best skateboarder India's with us, who was also helping to build us the skate park. And he was really surprised how good these kids are. They were actually as good as him in the park. So they have learned this, and while, through the skateboarding,
they have done this all by themselves?
It's self-organized, and it's all about self-learning. So they never ever had a trainer there. For now, for the first time, they will have 2 longer training sessions, since we do have an event mid-November coming on where skateboarders from all over India will join us. But what this skateboarding did to the kids was basically they gained self-confidence and they had a lot of fun. And we just implemented 2 small rules. One was no school, no skateboarding. So if they don't go to school, they are not allowed to skateboard. And there we work very closely with the local government school. The principal there is a very nice, very open-minded guy. And he really embraced the idea of the skate park. So since the skate park is there, school attendance went up. So the kids go to school, they are much more aware, eager to learn, and they're just very, very happy. The second rule we have is girls first. For this, you have to know in this Bundelkhand area, they do kill girls because they are girls. Because the family cannot pay for the dowry or whatever. So women in this area are below 0 in their standing. So we have this without speaking about gender issues, but this girls first rule which is also, we have stickers. So the kids, wherever they go, they see these stickers, or let it be at school or at their houses. A 3-4-year-old girl who's coming to the skate park, she doesn't hesitate to go to one of the bigger guys if she doesn't have a skateboard and asks, she would say girls first, and she will get the skateboard. So that's a way. This skateboarding is very nice on a individual basis, but it's also, since it's a limited space and you do have to take care of each other, it comes along with a lot of social skills, and that's really, that's the beauty. And these kids, they just love to skateboard. We have a couple of other programs around. They learn English. We have a couple of tablets. We have Kindle. We do painting. So they were painting the skate park with colors. We have a couple of things, and all of a sudden they have choices. They understand, we are as good as city people. Once in a while, we have city kids coming in, and these village kids, they see, ooh, we aren't that bad, and so it's
initially they faced some resistance from the local panchayats or the government agencies, for that matter, or
I can't say this. I mean, in the very beginning, they simply didn't know what we were doing. They had no clue. We were telling them a skate park, but they had no idea what a skate park is. So I couldn't say that we do have any kind of resistance. Slowly, now we gained at least the educational department and the district. They are coming to help us. The collector, who is, so to speak, how shall I say, who is responsible for the development of a certain area, of a certain district. He knows about the skate park, but he hasn't given us any time yet. But as things evolve, I'm pretty sure it will happen soon. So resistance, in a way, no. And also, everything went so fast with the kids. The kids simply took over this place. And today it's their place. It was very quickly their place. And even if the parents would say, don't go, they would go, because that's the place to be. So the kids currently, you can see this, they experience one kind of life within the skate park, and then they have this life at home. And somehow they feel there is a difference. And it's very nice to see how they individually are trying, to close this gap. And
was a choice of a skating park a natural choice, or you thought, what if I, let's say, have a cricket ground? Maybe cricket is so popular in India, maybe kids will come. Or did you have jitters that, skateboarding nobody's heard of in this side of the world? How was it to start off with? Were you jittery at the start, or you always knew that, from your heart that is going to work?
Actually, we didn't think about this. I only knew it was working in Afghanistan. It wasn't an issue. We didn't discuss. On the other hand, I have to say it was very clear setting up a cricket ground doesn't make any sense, because wherever you go all over India, you see kids playing cricket. And in these villages, nothing is going to happen. So I would suppose cricket won't work. You do need this somehow innovative kind of thing, that the kids and the people are curious. Skateboarding has certainly some kind of sex appeal, let's call it this way. It's really cool to look at, and it's cool to do. And the kids simply love it. And you have this balance. I mean, that's, again, holds true for every sport, between mind and physical activity. And you have these social skills, which are needed, since the space is limited. So only like 7 to 10 kids can skate at one time. It's a very, very nice sport in this case. And so no, we never thought about this. It just happened. But I wouldn't say, I don't believe it would work with cricket or hockey.
So it's been a little less than 1.5 years since you started skateboarding.
Yeah.
From the parents of these kids, or from maybe a local collector, or maybe even local media, vernacular media for that matter? How has been the response so far?
I mean, from the parents, it's just like this. I really have to give credit to all the parents because they
Hmm.
simply let their kids come. They were very open. They didn't hesitate, even though, once in a while one of the kids is falling and they have, some finger is hanging upside down, or we had like 2 or 3 broken bones. But they simply let the kids go, and they were. Uh, when they said something in the beginning to me or to the people who translated to me, it was they are very happy because the kids are happy. Now, when you come to the village, people are smiling. Uh, what you usually don't see in these villages. The local school has changed since we are
Okay.
there. All of a sudden, they have digital material. They have people from abroad coming in, or also we have an exchange program with the school in Delhi. So they are also open to do different things, which is nice. Uh, Media, yeah, media is it's a beautiful story. So media is somehow very nice to us,
Oh, is
and
it?
yeah,
Okay.
local and also national media. So we had a couple of film teams already there. We were in all major national newspapers. We are in the local newspapers. So we are quite happy with this. Yeah.
So, where do you want to take this? What do you intend to do with? Do you plan to take it to some other places? What's your way ahead with Janwahr
Um,
Castle?
I think what we probably will do where it ends up, it seems to work that a skate park can trigger change. And when I talk about change, I'll talk about cultural change, a change in the mind shift of the people. In business language, you would probably say we deal with corporate culture. Here we deal with village culture. So we're going to change this village culture in a way, uh, not that we tell these people what to do, because we have no clue how to survive in such an environment, which is kind of tough. Like 2 months ago, we had the a really horrible drought where people died. 800 out of 1,000 cattle died. Now everything is flooded. So it's really in the extremes. And so the people there, they in the village, they usually struggle just above or just below poverty line, and they don't have an horizon that they think from today until next week. Not even they do think until tomorrow. Uh, they are, and then religion somehow comes in. The culture that they are just meant to be like this, and they accept somehow life as it is, just live on and take it as it comes. So which is not very promising, especially when you are a girl in these circumstances. So all of a sudden these kids get a change, or an option to do things, and our goal is that there are so many villagers running to the cities in India. The cities are already collapsing. They can't take any more people. If we succeed in changing this village life, into some kind of decent life, then these people are very happy to be there, to live there, because there are plenty of advantages living in these villages. You have clean air. Usually, you do have water. You can walk out. You don't have to watch out if a car is running over you, or traffic is polluting the air. There are many advantages, and to make them understand that they are actually capable of uh, of doing their own things and live a little bit a better life, we are helping them. So we are observing. We see what in what they are good at or what they need, what they really need. For example, the villagers were saying we need community fencing. So one of our projects soon will be that we do community fencing to keep the wild animals away, and protect the fields in a better way. Another thing was the water project. So we just provided for the entire village water. There will no more be water shortage for drinking water, at least in next summer. So we dug a tube well and, now provide water for the entire village via 4 or 5 taps. This is a result of very, very precise needs there. So when we see these needs, and then we try together with the villagers to do this. So we have set up this sandbox, so to speak, and now we look what is happening with the villagers, with the kids, and then we drive this in individual projects or in community projects. We drive this forward. Where this will go, I mean, the goal at the very end is transforming a village and keep it going at their own speed, with their own passion and with their own capabilities.
Do you think there'll be a point where you'll say my work is done, or you think you will have to pass the baton to somebody else?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, and I believe that I truly believe that one day the kids can simply take over. When they live 3-4 years with such kind of understanding, and we have a lot of volunteers who can also, who are interested enough to stay long enough, not even getting paid. I'm sure some solution will evolve when I get the feeling to move on. Certainly I will be here for another 2-3 years, but I can't say I'm planning to die in India.
Ulrike, that was amazing. I had an amazing time talking this with you, and I'm sure all the viewers will also have had an amazing time. We have a minute or so for some last parting words. Would you like to say something before we sign off?
Yeah, I would love that, more people understand that, and maybe also come and see to Madhya Pradesh, come and see that change can happen, or change happens the best when people themselves take ownership. This seems, when I say this on a kind of meta level, but there in Janwahr, you can see the kids have taken ownership of the skate park. The parents have accepted this, and then everything becomes possible. And to understand this, that control and this top-down thing is not the only way of doing things. This is really something I would love to leave the people with.
Right. Amazing. I think we had a good time, and I loved interacting with you. I hope our viewers did as well.
You.
And all the best for your project.
Thank you.
We'll hear from you soon. And all the best for project Janwahr Castle.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.